Are you the kind of person who's always overwhelmed with work, with family life, keeping on top of everything, and still somehow always the one who shows up for everyone else? And then there's that one moment where someone offers to help you with something, and you say, "No, it's okay, I've got it." Here's what I want to ask you. You know you needed the help, so why didn't you just accept it? Because after years of working with women on patterns, energy, and personal transformation, I've noticed something that most people never see about themselves until someone points it out. The women who feel the most unsupported are almost always the women who are the best at refusing support. And that's not a coincidence. That's a pattern, and it has a root, and it goes a lot deeper than most people realize. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly why this happens, the energetic imbalance it creates, and why learning to receive might be one of the most important shifts that you can make. Let's get started. One of the biggest reasons you're struggling to receive support is because somewhere along the way, giving became part of your identity. You became the responsible one, the dependable one, the person that people can always count on. Maybe you were the one who stepped in when others didn't, or you learned from a young age that being helpful earned approval, recognition, or even love. And you could probably trace it back to actual moments in your own life. I know that when I was young, both of my parents worked incredibly hard to provide for our family. And because I could see how much they already had on their plate, I unconsciously tried to make life easier for them. I did well in school. I didn't create problems. I became self-sufficient. And because I was praised for being capable, I learned that being strong was something that was valued. If I didn't know the answer, I often wouldn't put my hand up. If I was struggling with something, I would try to figure it out myself first. Somewhere along the way, I started associating capability with worth. Now, your story may be completely different. Maybe you were the child who never caused problems because there were already enough problems around you. Maybe you became the peacemaker whenever there was conflict. Maybe you were always just the one who held it together while everyone else fell apart. But whatever the story, the end result is often the same. Without even realizing it, many women grow up receiving the message that being strong, capable, and independent is what makes them valuable. And this isn't about blaming your parents, your childhood, or anyone else. This is simply about understanding cause and effect. At first, these qualities serve you well. They help you become the resilient, capable woman you are today. They help you succeed in your career, build strong friendships, and become someone others trust. The problem starts when your identity becomes so wrapped up in always being the giver that receiving starts to feel wrong. Because if you're the one who helps everyone else, what happens when you need help? If you're the strong one, what happens when you're struggling? And if you've spent years being the person everyone leans on, receiving support can start to feel unfamiliar, uncomfortable, and even a little threatening. Most people never question this because being capable is celebrated, being independent is admired, and being self-sufficient is often seen as a strength. But there comes a point where independence stops being empowering and starts becoming isolating. Because when you've spent years being the one everyone relies on, you can end up feeling incredibly alone. Not because there aren't people around you, but because you've become so accustomed to being the support system for everyone else that you no longer know how to let others become one for you. Now, I see this all the time. A woman tells me she's exhausted because she's carrying everything. She's managing the household, supporting family members, helping friends, solving problems at work, and trying to keep everyone happy. And then I'll ask her a simple question. When was the last time you asked for help? And usually, there's a pause. Not because she doesn't need help, but because asking doesn't even occur to her. She's so used to carrying everything that it feels normal. It's a bit like carrying a backpack every single day. At first you notice the weight, then you get used to it. Eventually, it becomes such a part of your life that you stop noticing how heavy it is. The strange thing is that if someone offered to carry that backpack for you, you might feel uncomfortable handing it over. Not because you enjoy the weight of it, but because you've become so accustomed to carrying it. And that's exactly what happens with many high-functioning women. They don't consciously choose exhaustion. They simply become so used to carrying the load that they no longer remember what life feels like without it. And the people around them, partners, friends, colleagues, they stop offering. And it's not because they don't care. It's because they've learned that you can handle it. So over time, they assume that's just how you prefer it. And the longer this pattern continues, the harder it becomes to break. Not because support isn't available, but because receiving it has started to feel unnatural. Now, I want you to think about the last time someone paid you a genuine compliment. What did you do with it? If you're honest, there's a good chance you deflected it, laughed it off, or immediately returned the compliment, so the focus moved away from you. Or you said thank you, but you felt really uncomfortable. Well, that moment, that automatic deflection, this is the same thing that happens when support is offered. For some women, receiving feels uncomfortable because it means giving up control. When you do everything yourself, you know it's going to be done your way. You don't have to worry about whether someone will forget, make mistakes, or let you down. Doing everything yourself feels safer. The problem is, safety often comes with hidden costs. Because when you don't trust others to support you, you're also preventing yourself from experiencing what genuine support feels like. For other women, receiving feels uncomfortable because they've learned to associate their value with what they do for others. They feel useful when they're helping, they feel worthy when they're giving, and they feel needed when they're solving problems. And while there's nothing wrong with helping people, it becomes a problem when your worth depends on it. Because if your value comes from giving, receiving can feel like you're taking something you haven't earned. Of course, this isn't usually conscious. Most women aren't walking around thinking these thoughts. They're simply operating from beliefs they've carried for years without ever questioning them. And those beliefs have an energetic consequence that most people don't understand until exhaustion becomes their normal. Everything in life operates through balance and exchange. Day follows night, the tides flow in and out. Breathing requires both inhaling and exhaling. Now imagine trying to live by only breathing out. You couldn't do it. Eventually, you'd run out of air because life depends on both giving and receiving. The same is true energetically. Many women have unknowingly blocked their own ability to receive. They spend years pouring energy outward through their work, through their relationships, their families, and their responsibilities, but allow very little to flow back in. And the way this shows up is very specific. It's finishing a full day of work, picking up the kids, cooking dinner, helping everyone with what they need, and then getting into bed that night, feeling completely empty. It's being the person everyone leans on and realizing that when something goes wrong in your own life, there's no one there to really listen. It's achieving something you worked hard for and feeling almost nothing because you've already moved on to the next thing on the list before you've even taken a moment to acknowledge it. And the thing is, it doesn't resolve with a holiday or a weekend off. The pattern is still running underneath. You come back rested, and within days, you're carrying the same weight again. What most women don't consider is that the issue isn't how much they're giving. It's how little they're allowing themselves to receive. You were never designed to operate as a one-way energy system. Just as a river needs water flowing in and flowing out, you need both giving and receiving if you want to stay healthy, balanced, and energized. And there's something else I want to talk about that's keeping this pattern in place that's worth looking at directly. Now here's the part that can get a little bit uncomfortable. Every problem persists because at some level, it's giving us some kind of benefit. If you do everything yourself, you stay in control. You don't have to depend on anyone else, and you don't have to risk disappointment. If you never ask for help, nobody can say no. If you never lean on others, nobody can let you down. And on the surface, that feels like strength, but what it actually is protection. And there's a big difference between the two. Strength opens, protection closes. And when you've been in protection mode for long enough, it stops feeling like a choice, and it just feels like who you are. The problem is that while these strategies may protect you from disappointment, they also block connection, support, and partnership. It's a bit like standing outside in the rain holding an umbrella. The umbrella protects you from getting wet, but it also prevents you from feeling the warmth of the sun when it finally comes out. Many women are so focused on protecting themselves from disappointment that they unknowingly block the very support they've been longing for. And nowhere does this show up more clearly than in the relationships closest to them. This pattern doesn't just affect your energy, it affects every relationship in your life. You can find yourself being the organizer, the planner, the fixer, the problem solver, and the emotional support person for everyone around you. Then after a while, resentment starts to build because it feels like nobody is showing up for you in the same way. But it's worth asking yourself an honest question. Have you actually allowed them to? I spent years feeling stressed and overwhelmed, but on the outside and on paper, I had it all. I had the career in finance where I was valued and respected. I had the loving husband, my 3 beautiful children. But on the inside, I was really struggling. And I didn't want anyone to see that because I had spent years building the identity of someone who had it together. And I wasn't ready to let that go. Because when you've spent years saying, "I've got it," people start believing you. When you've spent years refusing support, people stop offering it. And when you spent years proving that you can handle everything alone, people begin assuming that's how you prefer it. Think about the last time someone tried to help you with something and you ended up taking it back and doing it yourself. Not because they were doing it wrong, but because handing it over felt harder than doing it your way. Or the last time a partner tried to support you through something and you told them you were fine because you didn't want to be a burden. Or the last time you were really struggling and someone asked you if you needed to talk, but you smiled and said you were fine because you didn't want to seem weak. That doesn't mean they don't care. It simply means you've trained them to see you as someone who doesn't need help. And this doesn't just live in your closest relationships. It shows up in how you receive everything. Compliments, help, even good things happening in your life. And that's exactly what I want to talk about next. Learning to receive doesn't mean becoming dependent on others. It doesn't mean giving up your independence or your capability. It simply means allowing life to flow in both directions. It means accepting that support isn't a sign of weakness. It's a natural part of being human. And it all starts in the small moments because that's actually where the pattern lives. For example, it's the compliment you receive and accept instead of deflect. It's the offer of help you say yes to and then let the person do it their own way, even if it's not exactly how you would do it. It's telling someone specifically what you need instead of saying, "I'm fine," and then hoping they'll figure it out. And I know this might sound simple, but for someone who has spent years being the strong one, these moments are anything but small, because every time you let something in, every time you choose to receive instead of redirect, you're sending yourself a message that you matter enough to be supported. Over the next few days, I want you to start paying attention to how often you reject support without even thinking about it. How often do you dismiss a compliment? How often do you say, "No, it's fine"? And how often do you insist on doing something yourself when someone has genuinely offered to help? These small moments reveal a lot because receiving isn't just about accepting help. It's about believing that you're worthy of being supported without having to earn it first. And for many high-functioning women, this is where the real work begins. So if you identify as being the strong one, this isn't about being less capable or about giving up your independence or suddenly relying on everyone around you. It's about recognizing that strength and receiving are not opposites. In fact, one of the strongest things you can do is allow yourself to be supported. Because life was never meant to be a one-way flow of energy. You were never meant to carry every burden, solve every problem, and hold everything together on your own. And maybe the reason you're feeling so exhausted isn't because you're not strong enough. Perhaps it's because you've been trying to do a job that was never meant to be done alone. Now, if you started recognizing some of these patterns in yourself, then I want you to know that this is exactly the kind of work I do inside my Evolve program. Evolve is a private, one-to-one, 7-week journey designed for high-functioning women who are tired of repeating the same patterns in their relationships and in their lives. Together, we uncover what's really driving those patterns beneath the surface, whether that's people-pleasing, overgiving, difficulty receiving, or the belief that you have to carry everything yourself. Because the truth is, lasting change doesn't come from learning another communication technique or setting another boundary. It comes from transforming the root cause of the pattern itself. So if you're ready to stop managing the symptoms and start creating change from the inside out, the details for Evolve are in the description below. Thank you so much for watching. If you found this video helpful, you need to watch my other video, which is all about the energetics of people-pleasing. It explores why so many women feel responsible for everyone else's happiness and how to finally break free from that pattern. Until next time, take care, allow yourself to receive the support that's available to you, and always stay inspired.